Welcome everyone to Intelligent Voices. I'm your brother YAHWEH. Today we will be discussing disciple. That's right, disciple. Many people say they're disciples of my father Yahuwah, but today we will actually see and understand what disciple means and what discipling means and discipling means. Someone who believes and does what his or her leader teaches, right? Yeshua had 12 disciples to be his special helpers. Today, anyone who follows the truth of my father Yahuwah is considered a disciple. That's right. With your whole heart, though. And many people have gotten discipleship twisted with the church people who therefore say they are a congregation. And here it is, they done took away the name disciple because here it is, they only going to sit down and listen to half truth and have lies from a serpent tongue from a man who's pretending to be a sheep but no more than is a wolf, made to look like the truth, which is called deception. He's not a disciple. He doesn't follow all the laws and ordinance and statutes. But here it is, he has allowed man and woman to think that anyone in Jesus or Lord or God is a disciple of Yahuwah. Two different people. Okay? Two different energies. Okay? And here it is. One is the truth and the other is a lie, made to look like the truth. But today, your brother YAHWEH hope to pull you forward as a disciple. So you can start working on understanding discipleship. Let's go to the book of Matthew 28, 16 through 20, everyone. Reading from the Amplified book today again. Make sure everything is clear for everyone understanding. Now here's 16 through 20. It completely says here in this Amplified, then the 11 disciples went to Galilee. They went to the mountain where Yeshua had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshiped him. But some still had their doubts. You see that? Some still had their doubts because what it is saying, these people couldn't identify a disciple of the Most High who have come from heaven and therefore has disciplized 11 men and 12, really, but one left. We know that was Judas Iscariot. But here it is, it reads here, it says, verse 18, then Yeshua came to them. He said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. So you must go and make what? Disciples, not congregations, but disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father. So now you got to really know, what is the name of the Father? It's not God. It's not Jesus or Christ. The Hebrew Israelite scrolls read, Yahuwah, I am Yah. So now as we see, so you must go and make disciples of all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father Yahuwah, and of the Son Yeshua, Yahweh, Spirit. Teach them to obey everything, it says, not some, everything I have commanded you. You see that? Man today pick what they want to follow. Congregations do this all the time. They like following what they want to follow and don't follow what they do not want to follow. That is not a disciple. That is a person who is basically trying to deceive others because they are deceived, right? So he says, teach them to obey everything I have commanded you, and you can be sure. See that? No doubt. You can be sure that I am always with you to the very end. So now this is a discipleship with the Almighty Father, who therefore give unto all who call with an honest heart, who truly want to be discipled in the discipleship with other disciples, and therefore to disciple their homes under the guidance of the presence of the spiritual possession of Yeshua Yahweh, and to be truly obeying, because here it is, he's allowing us to see, teach them to obey in verse 20. See, man of the world in the synagogues of these churches, he do not obey the full doctrine of the truth, because here it is, he know he serves the devil, Halil, and here it is, he is just as dark as Halil. So here it is, he's not a true disciple, but only a wolf in sheep clothing. And here it is, leading people who are lost and suffering to, here it is, eternal condemnation, and to allow their children to also be subjugated, but also saved, because here it is, it's up to the child if they understand what is going on or understand the lie. But if they don't, they won't be held guilty because of their parents or their uncles, their brothers, their sisters, or whoever, because here it is, they was led astray by them. But here it is, everything will backfire to them before the throne. And I assure you that. So now, being a disciple, showing that you must obey. And it is clearly allowing us to see in verse Luke, let's go to Luke 6. Luke chapter 6, everybody. And we're going to be looking at verse 12 through 16 in Luke. Now understand, this was the choosing of the 12. On one of those days, Yeshua went out to the mountains to pray. He spent the night praying to Yahuwah. When morning came, he called for his disciples. You see that? To come to him. He chose 12 of them and made them apostles. Simeon was one of them. Yeshua gave him the name Peter, remember? There was also Simon, brother of Andrew, James, John, Philip, and Bartholomew, and there were Matthew, Thomas, and James. There were also Simon, who was called Zealot, and Judas, the Iscariot, who was one of them too. He was the one who would later hand Yeshua over to his enemies, right? So now we see this here. This is allowing us to see that Yahuwah, my Father, chose or chooses people. And here it is. They have the full right to receive or to denounce it and stay with the devil. But there is a price to pay when you are not a disciple or are not in discipleship with my Father Yahuwah through the Son Yeshua. Because he is allowing you to know that when he chooses you and you deny yourself of that choosing, you are doing yourself a disservice than a service. Because here it is, you'll be just like the chaff blowing in the wind. All of your plans and all of your successes and dreams will basically be altered. Because here it is, you won't get them from a gift blessing perspective, but you would get them from a curse perspective from the devil. Now look at Luke. And as we've seen this in 12 through 16, we're going to Luke chapter 14. Watch this. Luke chapter 14, 25 through 35. Here it is. Large crowds were traveling with Yahshua. He turned and spoke to them. He said, anyone who comes to me must hate his earth parents, male and female. He must, here it is, hate his wife and children. Here it is. He must hate his brothers and sisters. And he must hate even his own life, right? Unless he does, he cannot be my disciple. You see that? So you have to cut off all your family. That means here it is. All people who are not willing to come onto the truth of the gospel that is prepared under the new covenant for Israelites who choose to become Israelites again under the love and blessing of Yahshua. Here it is. They can be or cannot be. If they choose to be, then they will be disciples of Yeshua. If they choose not to be, then they're congregations of the devil, right? So now we're seeing that he says, anyone who doesn't carry, now I probably skipped something here to go verse 26. Anyone who comes to me must hate, and okay, verse 27. Anyone who doesn't carry his cross beam, okay, and follow me can't be my disciple. So you have to get the notations out of your mind that has been traditional set by the church of Yahshua, my father, being put on a tree. No, he was put on a tree that was sheathed into wood, but it was a cross beam, one plank carried to the tree. And when they nailed him to it, it looked like a cross, but he was put on a tree. So when you say cross, you say cross beam. So all true disciples know that here it is, Yeshua wasn't crucified on no tree, but he was crucified by a tree, which is a cross beam shaved down. And here it is, he carried that beam to the tree and therefore nailed to it to make it look like a cross. But now as we see, continuing here, verse 28, suppose someone wants to build a tower. Won't he sit down first and figure out how much it would cost? Then he will see whether he has enough money, right, to finish it. Suppose he starts building and is not able to finish it, right? Then everyone who sees what he has done will laugh, right, at him. They will say, the fellow started to build, here it is, but he wasn't able to finish. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. And suppose he has 10,000 men while the other has 20,000 coming against him. Won't he first sit down and think about whether he can win? And suppose he decides he can't win. Then he will send some men to ask how peace can be made, right? He will do this while the other king is still far away. In the same way, verse 33, you must give up everything you have. If you don't, you can't be my disciple. It's in the book. Verse 34, salt is good, but suppose it loses its saltine or saltiness. How can it be made salty again? It is not good for the soil, and it is not good for the trash pile, right? It will be thrown out. Those who have an ear should listen to this wisdom. So this is clear how disciples are called into the grace of Yahshua, my Father, to allow balance to be made on the person into the subject or the individual. Therefore, they can be now coveted under this grace of love and peace and happiness and longevity. It allows you now to understand how to be righteous as a disciple of the Bible, not a congregant of a church. Because here it is. If you are a congregant of a church, then here it is. You have been indoctrinated by deceivers. And you believe in the cross that you wear around your neck. You believe in the tattoo cross on your arm. And you believe in the rosary bead, Buddha beads, and all other kind of deities except the true and almighty Father, my Father, Yahuwah. And you will not be called a disciple, but therefore be rejected. Because here it is, my Father says, many will come and say, didn't we do this in your name? And he said clearly, I will tell you, get away from me. I never knew you. Right? So now we see here in Luke, as we read, now we must go to John. Regular John, everybody. Regular John, chapter 15. Watch this. 1 through 17. Now, this is speaking on those who are connected to the truth. It's not speaking of those who therefore have doubt, because as we read, those who are true disciples, they don't have doubt, they know. And many people who think they are disciples of the Almighty are basically deceived, because here it is, they can't even identify a real disciple. Because we just read that. One must be able to identify a true disciple of the Almighty Father Yahuwah. So now as we will read 1 through 17 in chapter 15 of regular John, I am the true vine. My Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch joined to me and does not bear fruit. He trims every branch that does not bear fruit. Keep that in mind. Then it will bear even more fruit. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you in your heart. Remain joined to me, and I will remain joined to you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain joined to the vine. That's right. In the same way, you can't bear fruit unless you remain joined to me. Verse 5, I am the vine. You are the branches. If anyone remains joined to me and I to him, he will bear a lot of fruit, blessings, okay? And a vice as well. You can't do anything without me. Verse 6, if anyone does not remain joined to me, he is like a branch that is thrown away and dries up. Branches like those are picked up, they are thrown into the fire and burned. If you remain joined to me in my words, right, remain in you, ask for anything you wish, and if it will be given to you, and it will be given to you, when you bear a lot of fruit, it brings glory to my Father. It shows that you are my disciples. You see this? Just as the Father has loved me, I have loved you. Now remain in my love. If you obey my commands, you will remain in my love. You see that? Obey my commands, remain in my love. In the same way I have obeyed my Father, Yahuwah, commands and remain in his love, right? I have told you this so that my joy will be in you. I also want your joy to be complete. This is John. Here is my command. Love each other just as I have loved you. No one has greater love than the one who gives his life for his friends or his servants, right? You are my friends and servants if you do what I command. I do not call you servants anymore. Servants do not know their master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. I have told you everything I learned from my Father Yahuwah. You did not choose me. Instead, I chose you. I appointed you to go and bear fruit. It is fruit that will last. Then the Father will give you anything you ask in my name. Here is my commandment. Love each other. See this? Love each other. So now, how can one be a disciple without love? Because we got many people, many nations say that they love the Bible, love its truth, but hate their brother, hate their sister. A true disciple doesn't have any hate. We just explained that here it is. Hate is abomination to those who claim to be disciples, but therefore have racism in their heart, which is pure evil from Satan Halil. So you must understand, you must get yourself together, or you will be standing outside in front of judgment. And the Father says, everyone that stands in front of judgment is accursed. There's nothing you can say that will save you. So it is the best advice to get yourself in your life right now, listening to true Israelite brothers and sisters. Because here it is, we truly love you. We are truly disciples of the Father house of the kingdom that is to come. We have been sent and been woken up. We are now trying to wake you up to become back unto the Father as an Israelite under his new covenant of love, as a disciple. Each and every day of your life, you will be discipling and being discipleship unto. And here it is, the more you learn, the more, here it is, you grow into faith and be ready for that final hour. I, your brother Israel YAHWEH, come and tell you no lie. For I have and am possessed and filled with the spiritual life of my Father that is eternal. I only want you to understand the truth and understand that here it is, Satan and many false prophets have come into this world, just as my Father has ordained, to test mankind, to see if you are worthy for the kingdom that is to come. He wants you to serve as disciples in love. He wants you to come with your whole understanding of now being waken up by hearing these very precious words. To be a disciple, to follow the correction, to follow the laws and ordinances and statutes that he set before us, which are easy to do. You would now identify your brother and sister when you see them, because they will not be doing the things that you are doing. But here it is, if it's vain, because here it is, we will only serve our Father. That's it. No Jesus, no Lord, no God, no synagogue church of the devil, of Satan. And here it is, we won't be governed by man who constantly uses pagan names to refer to my Father Yahuwah by. Those are not disciples, those are congregants, deceivers of the world. They pay allegiance to Halil, tax-free. So we are here today and all the time when we upload here at Intelligent Voices Israelite, me and my wife, Israel YAHWEH, we are here researching all the things that here it is are in our hearts that is delivered, downloaded by our Father to be given unto you. So we take notes, we write things down and paraphrase, and therefore we also give you exactly what he wants us to say unto the world. Because he is the one that therefore is speaking. So with that said, we will end with this small teaching. But here it is. a very vast understanding. In Yeshua's name, until we return next time for another discussion. We thank you and we send our love and blessings to each household that receives us and also to those who haven't received us. In Yeshua's name, amen.